pe.gg/s4.
Welcome back, everyone, especially Horrocks, who's watching the show today. We're getting ready for our first upper bracket semifinal, and as you just saw in the trailer, we once more want to remind you as well to sign up for the next season of the FACEIT League. So much cool stuff in store for everything next year, so we're very, very excited, very excited, and hope to see some of those players, some of those teams making it, you know, all the way up the pyramid into the OWCS, as it's now all connected and interwoven. Sure.
Interwoven?
Using big words.
Interwoven.
4-syllable word.
Matt
Morella could never. That's crazy.
I literally just said it.
I said it before you, though. So you just, I gave you 3 options,
okay,
and you picked the right one, so you passed the test. Congratulations.
Yeah. Good job, Matt.
Good
You
job.
know, yeah, I mean, I said it correctly, but
Yeah, Matt knows words. Tomorrow we will be working on numbers, but first things first, let's take a look at our match for our upper bracket semi-final. Virtus Pro will be going up against Vision Esports, and also, of course, Exoblivione and Irias will be playing today, I believe, as well, but that will not be happening on our broadcast, but we'll keep you updated on the results of that. Let's talk about those 2 teams. We've not seen either of them on our main broadcast yet. So, starting Virtus Pro. I mean, we've known that roster for a long time. They're unchanged as well since they got picked up by, or they picked up Ataraxia. When was that, like June, July, or something like that? They did place 4th, I want to say, in the last OWCS stage.
Remember,
I mean, they were like really close to actually making it through.
Yeah.
It was a meme against Mr. Binds. Like, that was a meme situation.
Well, they lost to TM, right? That was the issue. And then TM just had to field Yubi for like...
Yeah. That was that whole thing, which we couldn't have scripted it any more annoying and funny. So that's the funny thing. And unfortunately, they didn't make it.
Yeah, I don't care though, because TM went to LAN and looked pretty good off the bat, at least, right?
Yeah, agree.
I'm happy though that VP kind of finishing the year out strong together as a group, right? You know, you see some of the other teams that were at the top of EMEA for WCS kind of like maybe even take this off, or maybe obviously with rosters up in the air, you're not knowing what's going on. They decide to maybe do something else, take a little bit of a break. But VP's like, you know what? Hey, we got this roster together. Everybody enjoys playing with each other. They had a pretty good OWCS season. Hey, let's get some free monies going into the holidays. Let's sign up. Let's end up winning this one.
Yeah, let's see how free it is. You know, like there is steep competition here, Matt.
There is, but I still would favor Virtus Pro. Vision Esports has a lot of players from like the Saudi leagues, right? And then obviously Top Dragon and Dong from a one-man army in the mix.
Yeah, I mean, Ioma realized they couldn't qualify for LAN at the end of stage 4. So Top Dragon and Dong ended up joining this roster, who was like doing pretty well. Like, I think recently in like a Saudi team challenge, they were kind of like 3rd, I think, losing the lower finals. So this team with the addition of Top Dragon and Donghun is looking really quite good. So that's kind of why they were able to handle Wasp so handily in their opening game. But VP,
they actually
like we
played
mentioned,
way higher than that. Like the last match they played with Top Dragon and Donghun was like early in October, I think, and they placed 1st. That was a Saudi E-League Major 4. So yeah, they've already had some reps under their belt with Top Dragon and Donghun, and it looks good.
And a cheeky Ice Nom on the bench as well, someone who we also I think saw from Aoma. So yeah, a couple of players obviously fighting it out in OWCS. I think this is like a really upcoming team. I don't think that they are going to be on the level of VP. That team has stuck together all year, despite failing to qualify for Stockholm. So yeah, I am calling a pretty one-sided game, but I'm willing to be convinced otherwise.
I could see moments of a back and forth game here. I know Top Dragon and Donghun are good enough to kind of like sway some of these games. Saudi for Overwatch seems to have like a lot of talent just in general, like a lot of depth of talent that we've seen. So I think, look, a 3-1, that's a respectable loss. I don't know if it's going with like a 3-0. Huh? What?
A respectable loss.
It's a respectable loss.
True, and again, this is a double elimination bracket, right? So they're very much...
They're not out.
Yeah, exactly. They're not out. I'm excited to see more of those players, and also just see VP again in action. Again, they were so close to actually making to World Finals. It was a bit of a heartbreaker, really, how that one ended for them. So I'm pretty sure they, as you said, Mitch, they do want to finish that year out strong.
I think they just were slow to adapt to the Juno comp because, in fact, but they were one of the first teams that actually played in officials because in stage 2 of the FACEIT League finals, the EU teams agreed to play Juno on their patch, right? But I think there was an issue with they weren't sure whether Gala or Canale would actually be the Juno player, and I think they flipped them. They switched them, which actually quite a few teams have done. They've had to sort of make that change. I think we saw it from one of the NA teams as well. So that's one thing that hurt them, I think, in stage 4. But yeah, I expect like this is a meta as well where Rajari gets to play the Orisa. So I think if they go that way, I think they're going to be in great shape. Sauna can play the bloody Reaper. Hello, easy.
If this game is close, I could also see this being like a little bit of a grand final preview, obviously looking further ahead. I mean, out of the rest of the field, right? Maybe Ex Oblivione at the time being, you kind of put, in that mix. But if you can get a good game here from Vision Esports under your belt, you gotta feel pretty good, even if they go to losers.
Yeah. Okay with that.
Yeah, that sounded like you were pondering there, Mr. 3-0 VP.
I just think VP are gonna clap. I don't know what to tell you. I think they're like Shockwave. Just imagine this for me for a second. Rajara gets to play Orisa. Shockwave gets to play Sojourn. Sauna can play Tracer, but Reaper potentially. There are also comps where like you get to see like Gala and Canale, the backline that can play Kiriko, which was one of their best looks like in the Kiriko Lucio meta. I think they were really strong there. Or like the Ana Kiriko, they play Ana Kiriko, excuse me. I thought they were really good there. I just feel like this is a meta that should honestly suit this team really well. I expect them to be very strong. And I just haven't seen enough of Vision Esports, in fairness. We know that Top Dragon and Donghun are good, but they also were on a team that didn't qualify, towards the end of the EMEA stage 4. So they
were able to turn the tide so often, though. Like, and in this meta, like that is so possible. If you have a DPS player like that in your team, like you can change the game and turn it around. And the rest of that core from Vision Esports, they've been playing with each other for a long time, so there's at least a lot of cohesion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm still giving it to VP, obviously, but like I'm saying.
So we went with the respectable loss, like I did.
Exactly, the respectable loss. That's what we're aiming for here. Yeah, but we obviously haven't seen either team on our broadcast yet, so we're really just guessing.
Yeah,
what we're talking about.
Seems like here in EMEA, the preferred map selections is to have Oasis and then Kings Row, map 1 and 2, and then Chambali close it out. It seems to be whether it be like Runasapi or Esperanza. This is I believe we have a Hanaoka that was the clash for the 4th game. That's a little bit of a wild card.
That's a Vision
there.
pick, by the way.
Yeah, that's a bit of a wild card, right? If you get to the clash maps, that we've seen kind of have crazy results.
Yeah, reverse sweep simulator. It's awesome. Also, like I think it's notable that Esperanza is picked over the Runasapi map. I think it's like a bit more rare to see that done.
What does that tell you? Well, it's a compositional thing or just a...
It depends. So we used to see like Twisted Minds always try and force Runasapi because they played Casti Farah, and Farah's really good at sort of playing around that map. Esperanza's better than Runasapi for dive tanks, for example, because of those bridges that you can sort of play from. So like Winston obviously was very popular. That's where we saw the Mayhem actually win a world championship, right? With that composition. So whereas Runasapi doesn't offer you that same potential to play dive, even though Quick did earlier today, which is really rare, and they did well at the start of the map at the very least here. So that's the one thing that stands out to me is a slightly interesting pick, though. It's not really right home worthy, but on it.
Map 3 and 4 would be interesting. If we will obviously get the map 3, right? But if we get the map 4, right, the Esperanza Hanaoka back to back could be quite fascinating to see how they play that.
The map set once again before we're heading into all the actions. Also, once more a reminder that this is not a loser that picks the map, obviously. Like, this has been predetermined by both of those teams with a pick and ban kind of system. And we're playing in a double elimination format. First to 3 wins, and the grand final will actually be a best of 7. So more maps. Hooray.
Yeah, no, sorry. I was gonna say, Mitch, the loser of like this, right? I'm curious who they would actually like kind of play into, I would not want to play into the wrecking ball stuff that's going on there with Wasp. So actually at this point of the bracket would flip, right? So the loser of this would play Peps. Because you don't have the top teams play like a rematch, you'd go back.
But then Peps also just seems like a coin toss.
Lowers.
Like you don't know which Peps you get.
Yeah.
It's been like that all year, hey.
Right?
Honestly, even back on GG Peps, like,
Being a Peps fan is hard. I'm sure there's a sports reference somewhere in there, Matt.
I mean, typically, you know, being a Mets fan is pretty hard. I mean, Jets fans, I mean, well, Peps wins occasionally, right? So that doesn't qualify for Jets fans. They never win. So like, it would be more like a Mets reference, you know. The Jets, I mean, they as long as they're the Jets, they'll never win.
You ever notice that all those New York teams all rhyme? Mets, Nets, Jets, Pets.
Peps.
Pets. Yeah.
Our Peps and New York team.
Yeah, the Pets. Yep. Yeah, that's us.
Did you ever notice that? Why do they rhyme their sports teams' names, Matt?
They're simple people over there. They need to keep it short.
Yeah, I mean, we just like short names. Just keep it
short people, short names.
Clean. Hey, well, what do you got against short people?
Nothing. Just pointing it out. Honestly, it's just making an observation. Like I'm observing this Juno Ana backline by VP with the dive tank. So this is why, Matt, I thought that they picked. This is why I think I picked Esperanza, because they want a better Winston map here. This is a comp that only VP you'd think would go for. Yeah, it's Ana Kiriko. They are literally going back to their comp from earlier this year. Okay, all right.
And this is like kind of what we saw, like Quick Esports. Obviously not the same exact type of comp, right? But they tried to play some of the Winston-based stuff.
Kill Shockwave, hello?
Yeah, I mean, he just gets taken out, assassinated there by Top Dragon. And then you see the Maga on the other side, and it's really difficult to play into that, especially with Top Dragon, right? How good he is on Echo. So will be the point going first here to Vision Esports. So fantastic job. Look, you might be in trouble if you don't want to kind of like play some of this Maga style rush. Nice bio grenade there, lands onto AMD. So they have to back up there.
Right, so I think if you can keep the Ana alive, you have a huge edge over the Malka, whose obviously sustainability originates from healing entirely. Here's a jump back into the backline. Yeah, instant bionade, and that's the end of the Malka. So really, this is going to have to change. This is going to change the way the AMDP plays. There's not really two ways about it here. RKM standing out in the open there. Rajaro able to deal with Zox, and VP will get onto the point. Man, this comp really requires Gala to be basically perfect.
Yeah, and I was gonna wonder if you see like maybe a support change potentially for Vision, right? Do you end up trying to play like a Kiri for the cleanse there onto the Maga? Because if the Maga gets hit with a bio, right, with the cardiac overdrive, I mean, he's just dead. I mean, you're able to take that Maga out quite easily.
Let's run it back here. Virtus Pro with that high ground control that has to be given up pretty quickly by Gala. A nano boost for the Queen? I say that with an upward inflection, not because I'm American, but because I'm unsure. Here's a sleep on Top Dragon. No, great connection there from Gala, and that is such a huge edge to give your team in this fight. Might be Shockwave getting the old nano here, but for now, Gala's just making sure they keep an eye on them.
Well, I mean, that's huge, right? Top Dragon had the dupe, right? So potentially a dupe scenario there. So AMD actually lands with Stomp, and this will be the nano boost onto Shockwave, like you mentioned. It'll be Orbital Ray for Zox, but that is Orbital Ray in a losing effort there as VP wins the fight.
So much of this is unraveled by the Ana. Sleep darts on towards, on towards Top Dragon there. There's a Bionade on AMDP. Also a Bionade on anybody who's standing inside an Orbital Ray to basically nullify, a good portion of that ultimate's effectiveness here. And again, you protect Gala. They're able to protect themselves as well by hitting uncanny sleep darts, and you're in very good shape. Here's a cage being thrown up. It's about to get brought down, but enough time for Rajari to be removed, and there's no chance to really follow up on that bio whatsoever. Top Dragon has to dupe an Ana to stay alive there.
Yeah, he was quite low. I just needed this to be able to kind of live. Just need the extra HP pool, as it'll be VP still with Cloud on the point here, keeping it contested.
Okay, Top Dragon able to bring down Cloud on the end, but a bio does connect on towards AMDP. There is a rampage here for Rajaro. Might be an opportunity to make use of it now. Top Dragon going down. Gala has the high ground and is making full use of it. There's the rampage, catching on to 3, nullifying essentially that rally that Donghun just popped. And the follow-up is good enough. Gala can see it all from where he stands and was able to bring that Malga down. That'll lock it up for the undefeated Virtus Pro here in Season 3 of the FACEIT Master League. They're looking to take this first round away pretty tidily.
Is Gala like invisible there on the high ground? It felt like he was able to just stand there and just do what he wanted that entire last fight, right? Vision so focused on trying to flip the point back. Never actually dealt with that up on the high ground. Able to just land, bios, land some damage, free healing. It's a nice, rampage from Rajaro on the way back. Connects with 3, like you mentioned. That was like during a rally as well. And VP cleans up there in the first round.
Yeah, beautifully done. I mean, yeah, this is a comp, like you pointed out, that has certain vulnerabilities that you'd want to see exploited by Vision Esport. I think the Echo is probably called upon a lot of the time to try and pressure the Ana, but it's not easy. It's going to be the same comp here from VP. So much anti-heal. Vision Esports is also, combine that, of course, with like the DPS passive being a little bit more effective now. That like Disruptor Shot is very good at applying that passive, for example, with the heal reduction. So keep an eye out for that. Important against these cardiac overdrive comps.
Yep, it'll be Vision Esports getting control of the high ground straight away.
Gala's dead, surely.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what they need to do, right? Just, dive him from, multiple directions, right? You can have the Reaper here, RKM from one side and Top Dragon coming over the top with another. Whereas Top Dragon takes up 3 to kick things off. So, much better start here for Vision.
Yep. Top Dragon, one of the best Echo players, I think, in EMEA. Definitely in the conversation. Knows that they have to use their cooldowns on an Ana, which doesn't always feel intuitive here. You'd rather spend focusing being, for example, on a Junker Queen. But in the longer fights, Ana's healing output will outstrip that of Vision Esports, plus the utility of the anti-heal is just too powerful. Top Dragon, he'll be forced off that line and probably just chilling in the skybox for a little bit while they try and shrug that anti off. Focusing beam there, no good. They get brought down to the ground here. Rajaro, they're going to be stomped upon here, and I don't think the healing from Gala rather is going to be there. And even with an anti on AMDP, they can basically ignore that, as all the Virtus Pro are in the tatters.
Yeah, so Top Dragon finds an early pick-off there, yet again, that time onto Canale, so doing a much better job this round on Echo, just kind of like assassinating those supports. And then after that, like you mentioned, it's just Gala in terms of heals. They just kind of go in behind that Maga charge with the Reaper, and there's no way they can kind of keep everybody topped off. So a much better look here in the second round for Vision Esports.
Pulse here for Cloud, also Shockwave. The one player you really want on the Sojourn, I think, here. Dongun has already gone down. Rosario was able to deal with that Brig, crucially, with Rally available. And there's Donghun, who has to respect this overclock. Everybody looking at Shockwave while VP move on to the point themselves. Canale. Whoa! That's nasty. Shockwave with a cheeky little 180. Zox just asking for it, though, if I'm honest with you. VP, back in the game.
Yes, they get a point ball. So, like, if they can keep the supports alive, right, through the initial kind of burst and fly through of Top Dragon, and he has to kind of come down to the earth, they can deal with that Echo right away. It feels like he's kind of the one that's opening everything up for Vision Esports at the moment. So it feels like if you can kind of neutralize Top Dragon, you're in a fantastic spot.
I think that AMDP might want to switch to something that can deal with this anti-heal a bit better. Arissa or Zahia, probably good options here. Arissa obviously just can sort of fortify through a lot of that. Because look, the sleep dart right now on this Malga, not in the fight when they needed to be, so RKM ends up just taking a face full of damage while the Malga sleeps. This comp will be a struggle, I think, over as the round sort of continues for Vision to make work with, but I understand they want to get use out of this cage fight still.
Yeah, and they lose Zox right at the beginning, and that's the orbital ray as well, right? Yeah. So that's kind of just thrown down the drain there for Vision Esports.
And the gurgler.
Yeah, as Bio connects. Oh, Canale ends up taking out Top Dragon, so you see they're able to deal with Top Dragon. AMD can't really kind of push on in when he's hit with the effects of the Bio, right? Needs to just kind of wait it off. So Gala with some interesting angles here.
Yep. Filthy angs.
Some lineups.
For a Bio, yeah, just to catch people out in the open. Nothing doing from that one though. Rajaro briefly stunned up, probably by the stomp. Shockwave, yep, beams down. Top Dragon though, able to enter and exit that cage fight out will. It's a pretty one-sided fighting for Vision Esports, who are behind the 8 ball though and have to spend an almighty amount of ultimates here to win that 5 days. 3 big ones committed to try and stay in this map.
I was gonna say, do you even feel that bad if you're VP, right? I know losing that fight. you know that Vision Esports wants to play up and quite aggressive. Maybe you can kind of catch them off guard here. I know with the Rampage from the Queen, as RKN takes some big damage, as he wants to fight. I mean, he just duels it out.
Yeah, he was looking for the engagement. Sox down, Shockwave here with the damage and a big bio here. This is tough to come back from, I'll be honest with you. A little Rampage here from Poppy D. Coming out of the duplicate there, dealing with Shockwave, but elsewhere VP have gone to flip the point now. Rajara will be able to attend. What's that creeping around? It's the RKM, yes. They have to back away though.
Gets a touch.
For a touch, get that overtime set up, and if they die here, it's all Ogre. Yep, Canale able to pick them up here, not ideal. Here comes the ball from AMDP. Probably not the switch I would have suggested against this anti-heal composition, but here we are. Zox in deep trouble now. Shockwave able to finish the job. This should be VP now. Landing the plane pretty comfortably. Rizarro doesn't have any reason to pay too much attention to AMDP there. Now they can turn towards the ball and deal with them. Pretty close. Second round, all things considered. But VP's comp reigns supreme.
Yeah, some moments there in that second round. The first one not really as close. The ball pick from AMDP there towards the end just to get on and get a touch. Like you mentioned, probably wouldn't have been the ideal choice for an extended period. But VP takes care of business there in map number 1. Really nice setup behind that Ana. I mean, Gala's Ana was extremely impactful all map long.
Yeah. When there are maps with the high ground, right, to guarantee these big bios, you can see every time AMDP wants to step up here, there's an anti-heal. Obviously, we know that Ana, just due to her lack of mobility, is quite punishable by any sort of dive or any faster composition, but this setup here with the Malga doesn't always get deep enough into the backline to stop her, especially when Ana can sleep the Malga or play from a different position, an off angle on the high ground. You saw that Gala was attempting to set that kind of situation up on multiple occasions. That was a missed sleep dart on AMDP, which is a shame, but the fight was essentially already over. And I talked about it at the start. Yeah. We don't have Sauna in the game, who has played plenty of Tracer, by the way, but Cloud comes on in, looks really good on the Tracer, but at Shockwave Sojourn, I think that is plenty to be excited about for this whole series.
It also feels like for Vision Esports, if Top Dragon doesn't get the first pick, the fight's just lost. That kind of seemed to be, at least on Oasis, like if he doesn't find a pick on the Echo, them kind of pushing in behind that doesn't result in many positive fight wins. So see if that's something you can kind of keep going. I know winning consistently with throughout the series. It seems like though VP obviously a great team. They figured that out. Also like Canale and Gala, two the supports who love to duel with damage dealers at all times. So they're not gonna be running from Top Dragon.
This definitely feels like it is Virtus.pro playing their comfort style.
Yeah,
and I mean, we talk about this sometimes with teams that it takes a certain level to force them onto a comp that is maybe a bit more universally strong. I also would say we're pretty early in this metagame. Obviously, tweaks across the board to a number of heroes. Both Malga and Orisa are affected, with Sojourn affected. Quite a few, heroes looking a little bit different. So, not massive changes, but enough to make teams reconsider their conceptions of what a metagame should look like. Subs here. Sauna now coming in alongside Shockwave. Sauna for me feels like the Swiss Army knife of this team has been able to play. I reckon we saw him play a ton of Ashe because Shockwave did not play for VP in the Season 2 finals of FACEIT League. The Sauna was in to play, I think a lot of the hit scan Ashe play.
Well, we also don't know if that's just like a scheduling conflict, right, for Shockwave, and he's just not able to play for those, or if that was like something more in terms of strategy. Something tells me he wasn't available to play during that for whatever reason. So no changes there for Vision Esports. It'll just be Sauna coming in for VP, and like you mentioned, we did see Sauna the last time though play some hit scan. We know that Shockwave in the past has also played hit scan. So we'll see what they bring in Sauna for here.
Kings Row. Honestly, it could be the Reaper guy. This is a great map for him. We saw him used to great effect by Hev in the previous series, for example. Excuse me. Less so Tracer because some of the verticality can be an obstacle to her, but you can play Sojourn, Reaper. I was expecting honestly Rajara to walk out on the Orisa comp. I feel like they've had to play a lot of different tanks over the course of this year, as many top teams have had to. Rajara obviously for me was really like a I saw a lot of Ramatra from them. Don't know if that was really like their main necessarily, but there was a long period of time where that was their sort of go-to. So they look great though on all those different roles. Obviously the Winston is what Rajaro was looking to play at times, but yeah, got off that for the Queen.
Yes, we'll see VP on offense here. Kick things off as Vision Esports looks like they're just gonna play interesting on defense, not play like a Sojourn or an Ashe. They're gonna just play Reaper Genji here on defense. So they want to play like really close and aggressive to the choke. I mean, you do not want to end up getting in some type of poke battle here potentially. I mean, that would be bad news for Vision Esports.
You can see what the setup's supposed to look like. AMDP in theory will try and avoid giving up that statue position at all costs. Man, there's so many Gilded Aspect skins coming out here, chat. All right, I'm enjoying it. Good to see these players blinging themselves out. So Sauna will probably try and spot out anything kind of close. Checks that high ground, doesn't see anything with a Sonic, and now...
I was going to say, you could just play Far against this. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah. Goddamn.
Far is, really good, obviously, on this point. We saw TM do it, and we saw a lot of other teams actually running here. Specifically, now though, with no hit scan or anything on the other side, I mean, you'd think it would be pretty useful.
Sauna just needs more time. The problem is that Vision's comp, once they get through both of the Zarya bubbles, they just hit W and push forward. They're already playing close in the choke here. So Sauna, needs a longer fight. They don't want to just get rolled over too quickly. Not much to shoot at here for the Matt.
No, I was going to say he's kind of probably just looking for players to put damage on. Everybody's playing on the outside of the hotel and then wants to push on in, but that'll be Shockwave opening things up with a rail. Now I think, as you see, they just barrel in behind Rajaro. Once things open up, that's when the Far can start putting down some extra damage. But yeah, everybody was kind of playing on the opposite side of the hotel, waiting for them to move through the choke and then kind of funnel out that doorway there. Never actually developed so, because Donghun gets hit with a railgun shot, insta-killed by Shockwave.
I think Faro continues to look good on this phase of the map as well, Matt. Maybe even more so.
Oh, without doubt.
Yeah. And Vision haven't really opted to try and answer this with like a hit scan option of their own. Top Dragon also could play Echo. We've seen them play Faro at times as well, but Top Dragon's Echo obviously definitely feels like it's world class. Man, Rajaro is very charged up here, as far as I can tell. In goes Top Dragon, tries to go for the dive. AMDB's going to be forced back immediately by the bio. Just one granny, striking fear to the hearts of this Vision team and shutting down their strategy.
Yeah, and I mean, that's just, you get this Zarya extremely charged up, you push on in with that Kitsune rush, you hit the bio onto AMDP, and there's no way you fight back if you're Vision Esports. What's, from bad to worse here for Vision Esports, I mean, you have a filthy combo, right? Grav plus Barrage potentially on the cards here for VP. So you can see why they were undefeated throughout this season. I mean, they are looking phenomenal.
Yeah. Pretty good look so far. They always seem to have the answer. Top Dragon has a blade to work with now. It's pushed in the direction of Canale. The AMDP is able to bring Sauna down. No barrage juice there at least. Sauna's coming out to keep that ultimate for later. There should be a full-scale disengage now for VP, but a pick on RKM might give him a reason to come forward. Top Dragon, a random sleep into grab play by Virtus Pro. Rajaro at full charge, or so it seems. And they'll just go and take the fire win.
Yeah, full charge with Nano as well. I think they were going to fully back out of it. And then when the Shockwave picks up that kill on the RKM, they're like, screw it. Like, they, that Vision Esports is pushing up. I think Vision probably got caught off a little bit surprised that VP was going to continue to fight that. That's the second, very close to the second checkpoint. This is going to be actually, they're going to rally plus cage fight and blade here to try and get this.
I mean, they would have had it maybe without the blade, I think. Top Dragon. Yeah, trying to go for it here, but Virtus Pro inside the cage fight make good use of that with the barrage from above. Sauna's happy just to hover there and send that. VP did have to spend. Shockwave's ultimate doesn't get a lot of value because much of the time is spent outside of the cage, but hey, it doesn't matter. 4:33 to play.
Well, it doesn't matter because Vision Esports sends everything there, right? They end up using cage fight. They end up using blade there, rally. And now look at this. I mean, you have the D.Va here to try and control some of the high ground, and then Echo. But D.Va's like horrible against the Zarya, right? Yep.
Generally not good. I don't know if... Oh man, that is tough. That is tough with two Fs. Here comes Virtus Pro now pushing on in. It was a D-suit of AMDP because should they stand out in the open against Desire for any period of time, they are going to be laser excised from their match.
I mean, look, maybe they obviously want to play Diva to like eat some of the rockets, but you're just asking to die at the hands of this Zarya. As that's going to be actually a sleep from Donghun out of the spawn. It gets a bubble out of Rajaro. There's his second bubble as well. You're still not even like able to get Rajaro, as you're going to have this nano boost here in a second.
There's the sleep. Oh, Gala. My goodness. They do it all. Nano over towards Rajaro here, by the way. This is VP looking to try and end the map. Donghun fighting in that back corner. But a fully charged up Zai that just can't die. Gala also hitting a sleep on an ulting Reaper. That is chef's kiss.
You know,
that is some
at the moment,
F and Overwatch.
Zoe's and I's prediction looks potentially inaccurate. This one... Man, that is a blowout. I get you're scared about like the bar and the damage that comes down, but you can't. I feel you cannot play, and even controlling some of the high ground. I feel like you just can't play the Diva there, though. I mean, Rajaro is just kind of like running through you, even on the Mauga. I mean, to play the Diva there feels like.
Can we just? So in fairness, I don't think that Mauga into the Zarya is bad. Like I think that's very reasonable. You just try and outlast the bubbles. Like Zarya can't really stop you from doing what your game plan is. The Ana is an issue, and Vision, aren't able to really access the backline. We do see Gala get pressured pretty well when VP. We can see Gala get pressured when Vision get in there with a Genji, but there's not a lot for the backline. And maybe that's the thought. It's like this Diva gives them more capacity to sort of bypass the Zarya, but I hate it against
Diva.
I hate it against the Zarya. I hate it.
I mean, Diva's obviously good against the Pharah, but also like eating the bios and things. But you're just gonna get farmed by the Zarya.
Yeah.
You're gonna play it again?
Can you not play Kiriko here with the Mauga? Just play Kiriko, Mauga with Juno. In theory.
Yeah.
Cleanse
or you were gonna
bio.
play, or just play like Winston at this point.
Sure. I mean, I think Winston.
If you're gonna dive, right?
Dive comp against this setup is very good because there's no brig for VP. They actually have struggled in the past against those like full Winston dive setups. All right, this is the way it's going to be. You play Ana brig into it, right? Donghun and Zox should be able to manage that. Already Vision able to start this cap. Not a bad way to start the game, in fairness. Rajaro needs to build up that bubble charge here. AMDP pretty low, obviously, on the Diva, but doing well staying out of those sight lines here, and that's another tick. Rajaro's out of bubbles, if I'm not mistaken. Gala needs to get the work, keeping them healed up here. But now we're starting to hit a critical mass, and the dive finally comes in. This backline pressure is what we needed to see from VP. From Vision, excuse me. VP are the ones that will fall under the weight of it. And Rajaro being mostly ignored.
Yeah, and that time they're able to kind of break through that choke, right? I think it's that early pickoff, though, on the Canal. Canal, like, playing in the hotel as they will switch from the Kiri over to a brig. Probably trying to help protect the Gala against this dive that comes on through. And yeah, I mean, look, I think for VP, if you can survive that first onslaught of the dive, you feel really good about it, as Sauna now goes over to Tracer here. Dude, they lose Canal again. I mean, they ended up losing him on the Kiri earlier, and he was so far pushed up. They just kind of out in the open there on the brig.
All right, well, let's run it back, VP. So again, like you can see, obviously, Diva can't stop Zai's damage. Big shame. But nor can Mauga, in theory, right? Like there's a lot of sort of heroes that had to just take that don't have shields. But what Diva offers you elsewhere in terms of like shutting down the Ana and also giving you an extra sort of mobility element seems to be well worth it. I love that! I love that from Gala. Just lobs in that bio. Unreal pressure. Zox has to get on out of there, even with the orbital ray in play. 2 players hit with the bio. Top Dragon has to save the day at 11 health. Paltry points of health. Gala, I think, misses that bio or has it deflected. It's unclear. Top Dragon should not have gotten that second kill. That is ridiculous to let him get away with that. He's a death blossom from RKM.
Dude.
Stunned up, I think, by Canale.
I mean, Canale tries to use Rally there to save Rajaro, and then I believe just gets stunned by Donghun, and they just take him out during his own rally. So that's going to be second checkpoint, as Vision Esports just kind of like bounce right back into this.
I do think that we're able to stun RKM out of his ult, but yeah, I think Donghun just ran over the top of Canale. This is good for Vision. I like this comp a lot more. We're starting to see exactly why it works here. Rajaro a little bit awkward out in the open. 0 charge to speak of here. Just taking some poke damage. AMDP never giving Desire enough time, and that was risky business, I think, going for a grab there, but you catch the Diva. She's not able to eat it up, and VP win an important fight. Now they really need to stabilize.
Yeah, and VP obviously sets a tremendous time, right? 3:25. Still Vision Esports with a decent amount of time on the clock, at least could potentially match it. You think, but now this fight will be tough, right? Nothing to really work with. Overclock, you saw Sauna from his POV kind of lurking with a pulse bomb. Actually, just gets deleted there by RKM.
All right, Sauna out of the picture. Moving over towards the Tracer on this defense side. Shockwave overclock here. Trying to look at someone else that's not Diva. The Hyper Rings being able to send AMDP up to the high ground with quite a burst of speed. The Shockwave has to drop down and respect. Big stick though, that's RKM out of the picture. Sauna back in the fight with a vengeance now. High ground being operated on by Vision Esports for the time being. But with Donghun under some serious pressure, they have to find a way to peel back for them. It's going to be Zox actually going for an orbital ray to keep Donghun in the game. And Vision turn it. Inside that orbital ray, they deal with Rajaro, and AMDP is going to send them further forward. Rally used here by Canal to try and stem the bleeding. It's AMDP pushing up against that Brig. And Top Dragon and Co will disengage for a time, but there's a nano on the cards here for Gala. Might be for Rajaro here now as they are safely sat in that back corner, but the pressure is starting to mount. Already Canal's got to give a little bit of ground. Big 3 stun from Donghun there, straight into the backlight of Virtus Pro. They are struggling to stay in this game, and Rajaro has got to go for it with this nano boost. But it's one player against what feels like the world now, and even at full charge, it's not enough damage to bring them down.
Yeah, you still have Sonic here actually kind of contesting the payload, so it's actually stopped a lot of progress that potentially Vision Esports would have gotten, and then Shockwave actually takes out AMDP off a spawn, so it's looking really good for Vision Esports. You're really not going to get much payload progress towards the end of the map here out of that. I do think Vision Esports, though, Mitch, is doing a much better job of coordinating this dive. I know previously we saw actually AMDP and Top Dragon go to high ground, force Shockwave down low. RKM with the TP in down low, waiting for Shockwave as soon as he gets there with no mobility, and are able to take him out. So starting to coordinate this much better.
I like that from Donghun, actually coming up to shield his Diva because they got bioed and would be susceptible indeed to the Zarya damage. RKM though was able to find a kill in the backline. Looks like he just dove in with AMDP and they got both supports for their troubles. Sort of would need a massive pulse bomb here to save the day, and it just doesn't connect. Rajaro just going to be roughly shoved out of the way here as Vision Esports are close to finishing the map. Yes, their time bank is going to be less than that of VP, but they made a very competitive game of it. Blade here for Top Dragon, not quite necessary, as Canal would have fallen either way. And it's about a minute that separates these two teams.
Yeah, and they're not able to get a long extended touch there towards the end, right? Not able to kind of get any stall. So Vision Esports looks much better. We were like, why the hell are you playing Diva into Zarya? And they actually make it work really well there, doing a much better job coordinating the dive.
Yeah, I like the looks. Again, we talked about this a lot. Can you pressure Gala? The more control they seem to have, the less deaths they seem to have, the better the game goes for VP. Just a couple, Donghun looked great on the Brig in that round. I wanted to mention it because we saw Gala throw like a long-range Bionade that hit AMDP in the front line. And Rajaro was like, oh, I can actually kill this Diva now. I can just walk up and kill them. So Donghun steps into the way, shields the Zarya damage, now ultimately gets caught in a grab as a result of that, but Vision is still able to win the fight. They force a grab onto a single Brig. Rajaro just thought they had an advantage and actually ended up getting punished for it there. So sick awareness for Vision supports there.
Yes, VP on defense. So they won't play the Kiri off the rip, right? They'll end up playing the Brig here in combination with the Ana. I think it kind of like fell apart the last time because they lost Canale so fast, right? He's like over in the hotel playing the Kiri and just, I mean, Top Dragons just takes him out instantly, just dashes right through him. So we'll see. They're able to survive a little bit longer here, because the longer the fight goes, right, that's when you think the Zarya can get charged up, take advantage.
All right, VP get to run it back on defense first, of course, having the superior time bank. That was considerable. He's got to look in the back away here, playing a big buy on AMDP, and getting rid of the Diva here could be huge. I mean, Rajaro is not going to be shifted from the point. They have no reason to leave it. And now without Diva entirely, Vision are at risk of being staggered out over a longer stretch of time. They get Gala for their trouble. Top Dragon also looking to set up here around Donghun, but they need the rest of their team to get in position. And no one in VP can actually taxi the Ana into the fight. So it will be a slower walk back for the Octogenarian, who wants to get back to healing.
And I think they know that Donghun is up there on the high ground. You see Rajaro looking at it, but I don't think they have any type of way to access him. They send Sauna up there to put down some damage, but Donghun rotates all the way back around as Top Dragon yet again finds Canal.
Still a ways away from a blade here, and AMDP is going to get desuited yet again, so there's an opportunity for VP to come in here. However, yeah, virtually a 4-way. I mean, AMDP is in a different postcode here without a it's tough. However, Top Dragon going to walk the backline of VP. Rajaro and Gala both fall, so AMDP didn't have to do anything. They were to pull people out of position enough, clearly, for Virtus.pro to get into the game. They do deal with the Baby Diva before a remake can be attempted, but this is going to be tough still for Virtus.pro to defend adequately. Shockwave is pretty close, to an overclock, but they've got to give the point up.
Yeah, nice job there from Top Dragon. So AMDP just uses his body to just create enough space. But man, where would this team be right now, Vision Esports, without Top Dragon? I mean, constantly getting first picks in these fights onto the supports. It's really one of the only reasons that they're kind of still in this one.
Blade time here for Top Dragon, and no Graviton Surge, available for Rajaro. That is the danger for Virtus.pro. Maybe a sleep to shut the Kennedy down, but that's always a pretty speculative one. Into the back line we go. Nano boost on Shockwave. Bionate throwing to Top Dragon. Everything, including the kitchen sink, to shut this blade down. And frankly, it works. But Sauna fell elsewhere. Donghun's able to get rid of him, who's still holding his rally, by the way. And it's great staggering of support ultimates here for Vision Esport. But a grab. Is there any follow-up? There's just nobody to do a thing about it. And Rajaro's out in the open with no bubbles to speak of. This Vision Esport party is still going.
Yes, Top Dragon ends up using the blade there. They get the nano boost onto Shockwave to keep him alive. Bio as well, and kind of splits everybody up there, though, from VP, right? Some of them are trying to focus on Top Dragon, and everybody else from Vision Esports at the front. They use the grab, like you mentioned. There's just absolutely no follow-up at all there.
That could have been a pulse bomb. Sauna just didn't have it ready, wasn't in the fight. VP, a little awkward look for them there. Come back in again, with that aforementioned pulse bomb. Not a whole lot else. That Death Blossom is concerning, especially with Gala switching off the Ana. Doesn't have a sleep dart available, but what a whip shot!
Nice
My
whip
goodness!
shot,
RKM just knocked aside as they tried to go for the big gambit. Zox is going to be destroyed already early in this fight, and what a beautiful stick. Everything just falls into place here for Virtus.pro. Not a moment too soon, might I say, as they did let Vision make some serious progress through the map, even with that fairly small time bank. And there's no guarantee they'll match it themselves on that attack side.
No, I really like the way that Vision played that. At the end of VP's offense, when they switched to the Diva, I think it was definitely questionable, but they're making it work here in a big way. I think they should just keep playing it, just keep rolling out with that Diva as they put themselves in a great spot to tie this up at one game apiece.
Yep. Again, I want to throw it back though to Virtus.pro's Fire composition, that once they did eventually get rolling on that attack side, they looked really good. They looked really oppressive, especially in this second phase of the map. There were a couple of false starts right at the beginning of that VP attack side where Sauna didn't really have enough time to, do the Fire thing to build up to a critical massive poke damage before VP walked on in. Because Vision were playing that Malga Reaper close to the choke style. You might see them stay with the DV here, which I do think is interesting. Probably take the Malga here, follow them.
I mean, it is a really, interesting setup, especially against a team that has wanted to play Zarya, right? I mean, Zarya obviously extremely strong against Diva. Seeing them play it though. I mean, they've been able to circumvent that Zarya getting out of the way, and then obviously, deal with the backline.
It's probably to answer the Ana, but Gala has switched off of that as of the last fight, I think, on that last round and now. So there's no biotic grenades to eat anymore. It probably doesn't feel nearly as potent, this Diva pick. AMDP down to half, so they head upstairs. This will begin the cap here for Virtus.pro, but Rajaro constantly has to turn around and see what's happening in the back line. RKM a little bit low. Not a lot of charge for Rajaro. Having no bubbles left and only having 20 charge is not great. Not able to get that value they're looking for here. Ooh, that's ugly. There's no charge going on whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, not able to get any charge whatsoever. Gets staggered out here towards the end. I think they've really, it's almost been, obviously the Diva in the mix, but I think it's really just been not able to do with Top Dragon, right? You kind of have the Diva in the back line, and you're trying to keep the D.Va off of the supports, but then you kind of have that Genji that comes in and just ruins it all.
All right. Let's run it back here. Rajaro hoping to get some more bubble value here. Wasn't able to save Shockwave, but they are hitting quite hard. Gala has to try and keep them alive here. In theory, this Virtus Pro comp should eventually be able to get through, but Sauna's back off the Pharah. That looks so good for them earlier on, probably because of the presence of this D.Va to shut that Pharah down. ANDP inside the cinema. No one to be looking at right now as an orbital ray comes out from Zox. Gala doesn't quite have theirs yet. RKM looking to try and get away as those torpedoes are thrown out. Zox, you'd think, would be in a bit of an awkward position here, and you're right. Rajaro is going to punish them for being out in the open. And now Top Dragon tries to go for the blade. We're going to be stunned up midway through, and Rajaro is able to finish the job. RKM, though, got rid of that brig, but Jonghun is so low. It's a 1v3 here for Rajaro, excuse me. And that grab will have to be held for a next fight.
Yeah, he's going to fall, and you're already below a minute here. I mean, this has been fantastic for Vision Esports, right? Considering how far they got the cart. I mean, you're in a great spot to win this, tie it up. It'll be, this is going to be overclock in blade comboed here.
Oh, that's nice. Aim to be caught out by the overclock, but it's going to take a bit more than that, Matt. Oh, Death Blossom. What? Okay, Shockwave just shut down 2 ultimates in a row, and still it's not going to be enough. That is rough. Rajaro here sat out on the point, but couldn't see Shockwave. Actually had a bubble. This is another fight that's gone wrong here. VP might just drop the map here.
Oh, this would be a big shock with the way that the first offense went there for VP. Just completely dominating. And then now, once you get this Genji, D.Va, Reaper in the mix, they've had no answers.
That is wild. Okay. Virtus Pro, 17 seconds left. Still gonna grab. Still got an orbital ray.
Imagine this gets eaten. That would be
no, dude. There's no reason they don't win this fight. 0. Okay, that's 45 charge off a bubble. Just kill the brig. Kill the brig. Anybody. Just, yep, there we go. So Donghun falls, but Gala goes as a result. Orbital Ray, though, was still deployed, and Rajaro can now play from inside that. That's a parting gift from Gala. 1 tick. You don't need a few more than that, but Top Dragon now is down. Here comes AMDP out to the party, but Rajaro should be charged enough here to cut through the D.Va pretty comfortably. He's a big ass laser. Yep. There's going to be VP taking the point here, but there will be an overtime for the rest of the map.
And I think the biggest thing is, like, a blade is going to come from Top Dragon. If you can live through that, you kind of got a chance, right? They didn't get that second checkpoint, which would have been huge there for Vision Esports, and they'll actually go and play. Oh, so look at this. They're going to actually go, okay, for a second I thought they were going to go Maga. No, they're going to stay on that D.Va. It'll be Gala actually making a change of not going to play the Juno, going to play the Ani here, potentially for like a sleep and an anti onto Top Dragon kind of coming on in.
I don't mind that. It gives you some counterplay against some of those ultimates that could end the game straight away, but the Gala switched off this pick because of the pressure they were suffering from the dive. All 3 DPS, or all 2 DPS plus the D.Va, may as well be a DPS, can access that Ana pretty comfortably. The Gala's going to have to be centimeter perfect when it comes to that sleep dart, for example. Here comes an orbital ray over the top. The torpedoes. Everybody from VP going to be forced back, and Shockwave got caught by it. Oh yeah, this is done. They're absolutely cooked.
Yeah.
Vision Esports going to be able to take a map back here, and it's all off the back of this switch in comp to bring the D.Va in.
Yeah, the D.Va with that Genji Reaper, they're just putting so much pressure on the backline, right? They just go right past the Zarya, who cares? And they just charge down Canale and Gala, and they're not able to stay alive. And what are you gonna ask, like, Shockwave to, kill 2 players as they kind of come on in? Not able to do so. And then once those 2 bubbles are gone, there's no protection for anybody, right? That was a really good look there from Vision Esports. It started out not great, right? The D.Va on point 3, I know when they were rolling with that Zarya, didn't look good, but as the game went on, they definitely, I mean, that looked sick.
I think the switch of tanks was huge, right? Because not only did it negate the Ana to some degree, maybe just support a dive on the Ana's position, but it also basically renders a Pharah pick for Sauna on the attack side impossible.
Yeah.
They don't have that option anymore, and that was something that was probably the most effective at punishing the Genji and this Reaper setup, right? Obviously, they can't really interact with Pharah whatsoever. But once the D.Va comes in, you've got an element that can blow up Pharah, especially if she tries to barrage, just basically counter that ultimate entirely, and also be able to dive on towards that less mobile backline here. So great adjustments, and this is exactly why it feels like a pretty diverse metagame right now, at least this early on, because we see teams making these switches here just to try and give them the edge. I like the comp that we ended up with from Vision.
Well, do you think that like we see any changes there for VP, right? Against this, like, do you continue to just run Zarya into it? It'll be Esperanza. So you think the Diva's probably better here, right? Like,
yes.
yeah,
I think it's pretty good here. I don't know. You probably don't sub Cloud back and you keep Sauna in on this map. You probably still play them on Tracer though. You play Tracer, Sojourn, Winston. Maybe you play an Ana Brig. I don't know about Juno. Just obviously in that kind of comp, the orbital ray is not quite as impactful, but she's just so busted. So, or the Queen, I guess. Yeah, I wasn't really thinking about the Queen. That's obviously a bit of an annoying comp for a lot of tanks to sort of deal with. But again, Diva doesn't mitigate damage via like large amounts of healing output, right? So less concerned about the anti-heal aspects. That defense matrix that is a nuisance.
The Echo would be quite interesting here, right? Echo, another character that has a very strong, beam-like ability that can't be eaten up by defense matrix, right? If you can get that Diva weak, finish her off rather quickly, could be difficult to deal with. But this actually might work out well for Vision Esports, right? Like you mentioned in the pregame when we were talking with Zoe, like this is a map that you can play a lot of dive, and they just win a map playing this type of style. As you see Canale take a lot of damage early on. That's already the bio.
Peel's really good though. I mean, Gala is able to get like a defensive bio onwards Canale, but also anti-heal AMDP, who's now been desuited by Sauna. So yeah, this Echo pick might have been the answer. There's not a whole lot that Genji and Reaper can do about it either, as you can sort of see right there. And it offers great peel potential for Gala and Canale. I think keeping this backline alive is important. That's why I suggested the Brig. I thought it would be in a Winston shell. But still, yeah, here it looks quite good.
Yeah, they end up using the Brig on King's Row, but they still were not able to keep Canale alive. I think now, though, it's probably a little bit less shocking to see the Diva on the other side. Look at a Ramatra look here. So this is, Bob, all the teams earlier, right? We saw, I mean, obviously we saw the ball there in the last series, but first series of the day, we saw a lot of like a Risa Maga. Now we're kind of seeing a little bit of everything.
No, I don't mix-ups here from VP. We've obviously already seen them try to make pretty extensive use of this Queen. All right, it's RKM down. Whip shot pretty darn good. Yeah, you really have the option to stave off those stickier DPS from your backline with those. However, a little bit of Ramatra play. The Nemesis form was pretty gainful here. Division are trying to consistently switch tanks here to attempt to counter VP's play.
Yeah, and like against the Ramatra, you probably wouldn't mind like a Diva, right? As this is actually going to be Shockwave getting the benefits of the Nano as they still want to continue to fight this. He's got Overclock here now as well. Oh, that is a nasty shot.
Yeah, still have to deal with the Ramatra though. Still have to respect it. Eventually AMDP will outlast and end up winning the fight. So there's a whole conversation about like what your option is against the Ramatra. It looks like Gala feels like they're getting run over a little bit too much. So off the Ana, over towards the sort of Juno here alongside the Brig. Still think this is a reasonable comp for VP to make use of now. They want to push up. Rally, bit of an issue. However, Donghun knocked to the ground there. That's a big one. Top Dragon forced back there as well during Blade, and just no prior opportunity. Able to finish off Rajara at the very least here, but Vision are struggling. Zox is too low and probably doesn't want to make use of that orbital. And that's a dupe of the Ramatra. Pretty good once the Annihilation gets developed, Matt.
Yeah, the Annihilation, I mean, even in the dupe form with not the large HP pool, still extremely powerful as they lose RKM across the map. So this will keep the bot continuing to move deeper into Vision Esports territory as you're going to get very close to checkpoint here for VP. As Vision Esports, I mean, Annihilation plus Orbital Rays, pretty nasty. But you're going to have this Rampage here for Rajaro.
AMTP wants to push up here. Annihilation finally developed. Rajaro though as well. An anti-heal could be massive here against this Ramatra. Ultimate. Gala going to go down there to the torpedo. Sauna at least able to find Top Dragon. The Death Blossom from RKM doesn't get value. There's AMTP caught by the Rampage, but who is looking at the Ramatra? Just Rajaro, and eventually that gets shrugged off. That focusing beam coming in from Sauna definitely put some pressure down on AMDP, but not nearly enough. There's just not enough people looking at him. That's nice though. Just a random pick from the Sojourn. She is so powerful right now. Shockwave is more than happy to sit at the fringes of these fights, hit these railguns, and that was a recall forced there on Top Dragon as they realized they'd been dinked.
Oh, they're still going to get the bot moving though, right? You still have Donghun and AMDP here still alive. But I was going to point out like how much more space it looks like that Shockwave has without that Diva on the other side, right? Now it's actually a switch off of the Genji over to the Tracer, probably a little bit better synergy there with the Ramatra. But yeah, still without that Diva getting right into Shockwave space or getting in the back line, you see they definitely survive a bit longer. This will actually be Vision Esports taking the lead. They'll actually get checkpoint.
All right, 53 and counting here for Vision Esports. They've made a way through. Rally also on the horizon for the next fight. It's a slim lead, but it is a lead nonetheless here after switching to this Ramatra setup. I think that VP haven't been able to address adequately yet. Donghun taking a lot more damage than I think they would have anticipated there, ultimately falling to the Massacre swing. Shockwave, though, heavily pressured by the top Dragon Tracer, which has looked excellent. And now has a Pulse Bomb, ready for use in situations like this, but Rally popped by Canale. Virtus Pro still grouped up here. And no one being affected by the Pulse Bomb means that they can deal with AMDP now. It has to be an Annihilation popped instantly, which is a decision you can respect. Zox, though, is taken down, so the healing for the Ramatra is limited. Rajaro, though, has to respect this and is caught inside the Maelstrom itself. Ramatra ult still pretty busted.
It's still extremely strong, right? Especially when teams want to fight around each other, right? You're playing like a Brig and a Queen. You definitely want to fight in that type of scenario. As they still not able, Sonic, you see, trying to use that focusing beam, trying to take out AMDP. Is Shockwave now behind, firing some railgun shots, doing a great job keeping this Ramatra alive as RKM just kind of playing around that ram. Takes out Sauna. Now Sauna gonna ditch the Echo, going over to Tracer here. Is not finding much use of the Echo at the moment.
RKM just maybe gets a little bit too close there to the prickly ends of the Junker Queen. Vision really looking to push up there, and they're probably happy to draw some key ultimates out of VP if they can get them, but Rajaro's been holding onto that Rampage for quite some time. Looking to try and snowball with it. A little bit of Ray here from Zox. Can they tease out the Ray from Gala instead? They still have this lead, and it's starting to become pretty comfortable, Matt. 30 meters and counting. Top Dragon has built yet another Pulse Bomb here. Running rampant on this Tracer pick, and oh man, that is nasty. Canale blown to smithereens.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see that Vision Esports starting to feel it here at the moment, right? As you get rid of Canale, that's going to be the Rampage that comes on through. Connects with 3. It actually hugely connects with both supports there, right? If you take out both supports, you're in a great spot, but Donghun able to live, and then you also pick up 2.
I've got some doubts about VP's ability, Matt, to show the flexibility they need against a team that is actively countering them with compositions like this. They're still stuck on this Queen setup. Now Rajaro switching over towards the Ramatra. And that was an orbital raid that came out before Canale went down, and it will allow VP to stabilize here. That was a hard-earned ultimate, though, that they've got to part with.
Man, I'm impressed with the flexibility of Vision Esports, right? It seems like every time that Virtus Pro makes a change to try and, adjust or counter what Vision's throwing out, they kind of have an answer on the other side. I think you probably would have saw Vision Esports make some changes, but AMDP so close to the Annihilation, that's an ultimate you just don't want to kind of like throw in the bin, right?
Not at all. Really want to make sure you can make use of it, and AMDP's going to use it well here. Shockwave Sauna being affected by that one there, but the Pulse Bomb deployed does take care of Donghun, and AMDP doesn't have enough healing. It's a very aggressive play with that Annihilation. Clearly Vision hoping to halt the bot as early as they possibly could, but they end up getting the floor wiped with them. And there's a chance here for VP to snowball with a rally in the next fight, and AMDP has switched off the Ramatra. Now to the Malga. Desperately looking for edges against Rajaro at every opportunity.
Yeah, and just showing that flexibility I was just talking about. Like Malga historically has been really strong against the Ramatra, right? Ramatra can't exactly kind of stay in that neutral and brawl for long periods of times against the Malga. The Malga definitely much healthier of a selection.
All right, there's RKM caught out by Shockwave again, definitely outranged by the Sojourner. Shockwave has been hitting him. Another pulse on Canale has been good, but Shockwave finds yet another kill in this fight here. And this is where Vision Esports are at risk of losing control of the game. Looking to stabilize in this fight now as AMDP is low. Regala's able to bring them down. The Juno, a bit of a problem here. Top Dragon also trying to duel with Sauna, if I'm not mistaken now. Their bot is getting awful close with 1:40 left to play.
But there's some kills from Top Dragon that happen here, right? So it's going to take players a little bit to get back from the spawn. So you're going to be able to get a touch here of your Vision Esports. It'll be RKM gets on the bot, prevents it from going further at all. You already have rally use here for Canale, so no support ults available here for VP.
Pulse here on the Brig. The attempt was good from Sauna, but no connection. Here's the Annihilation, though, and look where we are. We are the cat amongst the pigeons. As Rajaro Canale goes down. AMDP a threat from that high ground, but there's a risk of giving up the lead here. The Annihilation does time out as AMDP dives down, but who's contesting Shockwave on that high ground right now? Top Dragon is down, so nobody's going to answer the threat of that Sojourn.
Dude.
That's VP getting the lead inside a minute left.
The kill onto Zox is massive, right? Because he was 99% to the orbital ray. You could have easily orbital ray there in that fight if you're Vision Esports and be able to win that fight right there, and it probably seals the deal, but you end up losing. Now you have to make a big comeback.
Tough break here. Orbital ready to stop the snowball, but Gala has one of his own. Shockwave's overclock hasn't quite found purchase anywhere critical yet, but Zox was low and suspended in midair, so the Pulsar Torpedoes are able to claim them comfortably enough. Death Blossom for RKM, they need more than the one kill, I'd say. As Rajaro goes low, that's the pickup on the Ramatra, and Vision have a chance to stake their claim here to this map.
So, man, it's going to be a run back here, though, for Vision. I mean, you're going to have a rally to work with. But, I mean, dude, it's going to be difficult, right? Top Dragon needs to come up with, like, a pick early on. We've seen him constantly go after Canal, so keep an eye on that, right? If you're able to get Canal out of the fight early, then it's all protection gone for Gala and Shockwave. You think everything starts to fall apart from there, but you see VP, they're going to kind of play from this high ground. AMDP will move up here, just gonna keep that bot contested. Oh, he gets it with a pulse bomb, I think.
Not ideal. Zox is anti-healed as well. Hit by that rampage. Donghun with the rally. It's timely. It's perfect, in fact, and it's what keeps Vision Esports in this game. AMDP was so low, and yet they're able to overcome that huge health deficit. Gala's gonna get staggered out here. This is punishing as heck. Top Dragon doesn't need to deal with the Ana.
Nope.
Eventually they go down.
Top Dragon gets into the back line yet again. Like I mentioned, it takes out two players as Vision Esports gonna make the run around the corner here. They just need one more fight to go their way. It's gonna get so close. Sauna gonna get on, has to touch, just wants to stop it from moving.
There's about a rally here for Canale in just a moment. Gala with the switch back towards the Ana as well. Could find a key ultimate in this fight. Here's Top Dragon, no good damage. Canal though gets the rally, and it's time to go for Virtus Pro. It's time to end the map here. Canal looking to get towards the Reaper. Good pressure. RKM gonna fall as a result, but Shockwave gets hit by the stomp and taken down. Gala struggling in the backline. Blade would have been an option for Top Dragon, and it's sent in the direction of that Ana. Rajaro's too low, and Sauna is eventually gonna have to capitulate as well. Vision take the second map in this series. Constantly counter-picking VP. With these tank switches, a well-earned victory on Esperanza.
Man, I am so impressed with the flexibility of Vision Esports. Not going to capitulate and just take the mirror and just, you know, fight it out like that. No, we're going to constantly change, try and get the advantage in terms of the tank battle. And we saw them do that all map long. And then, you know, we were talking about, hey, how do they kind of swing it here towards the end? Top Dragon can get into the back line, make a play. Sure, you know, you end up losing the Reaper early on, but then Top Dragon comes back with a blade to kills 3. I mean, no, that's some sick stuff.
Great game to watch. Let's look back over some of the moments here. Top Dragon, obviously, his pulse bombs, really, really important on a couple of occasions. I think even the next one built up, got very, very close to being, yeah, this one here. Stunning stuff, really. Time and time again, big impact from a Top Dragon. Someone we know more as like a, yeah, Echo Genji player. The Tracer, they looked sublime here. Donghun is a standout player for me on this team, Matt. I'm not going to lie. The rally timings have been impeccable. But also the sort of stun priority off that rally bash, absolutely crucial. It's tough for Brig, especially in the age gone past of all those Faracomps here. But yeah, it's great to see Donghun looking so good there. And I don't know if VP... Yeah, you're gassing up. I appreciate you're gassing up the flexibility of Vision, because I agree. Allowing them to switch here into these picks. I don't know if VP have the flexibility required to actually answer this. Like, can they just keep playing this like you switch, I switch game and tank? Because it looks like Rajaro is less inclined to do that.
Typically, when you get into the you switch, I switch type of game, we go kind of round and round. Eventually, we end up at just a mirror spot, right? We just have not seen that at all right now, right? It just seems like, no, we constantly go around in a circle. Is the safest pick just playing Maga? Like what is like the, you know, you play the Zarya, it seems like they play the Diva, just go for your backline, right? Then you play the Ramatra, they just play Maga. Like, it seems like the safest is to just play, yeah, I guess you could just play Orisa. We haven't seen Vision play like Zarya, right? So potentially that's like an option.
Yeah. Okay. Something worth pointing out. I mean, Vision don't need to because they just play Malga into the Junker Queen and are happy enough with that matchup. Like, Zarya is sometimes the counter to the Queen, obviously, for, you know, just cleansing off those bubbles and also make it hard for Queen to get that residual healing via bleeds that she tries to apply right through the fight. So
we get a pause, and right before the pause, I saw the game chat, and I think I have an idea why we're paused.
What did you see? What did you see? I didn't
it was I finished. I'm not gonna say the word. There might be a player using the bathroom.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, that's cool. All right.
Yep.
Damn.
But, you know, yeah.
I mean, can I go as well then if we're doing that?
You know, with the way it was described, you may have some time, but no, I don't think enough time. I know you have those tubs of protein powder behind you. We don't know. You may go to the bathroom and get lost. Come on back. Yeah, see, it's a recipe for disaster.
You can be on a high protein diet and still have excellent motility, chat. So don't listen to what the guy says. Yeah. 1.4 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. There you go. Per day. It's healthy.
Yep. There it is.
Get some protein. We'll be back after the break with some more of this last match of the day. It's going to be Virtus Pro struggling against Vision Esports here in this upper bracket semi. What can only be described as the fattest, nastiest break we could have had. But we are back, and everybody is in control of their faculties. We're ready to play Hanaoka.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a little bit of a wild card pick, right? We were like, okay, like, why Hanaoka? We get an idea now. Is honestly, I understand why Vision played it, but picked it because they seem extremely flexible, right? Like whatever they would decide to do, you can make adjustments, right? And it's just kind of playing control at that point. So it'll be VP playing the Queen with the Pharah here off the rip. As it'll be Vision Esports getting aggressive. They take out Zox.
Yeah, great start here. Obviously, Virtus Pro, the Pharah in the mix on this map's great. Plenty of purchase for her to play from. Really annoying to deal with. You can see on boots on the ground, Shockwave is making sure that those of Vision are smoking. Here comes a run in from AMDP. Will be yoinked back into oblivion pretty quickly. So first point on the board for the VP.
Yeah, he just runs in, maybe tries to extend it for a little bit, and then just kind of gives up with his life. So point one here to VP. Also, keep in mind, VP undefeated, 11-0. This would be the first loss. I mean, this would be a huge win here for Vision Esports.
That is quite true, Matt. And I've got to wonder about the percentage of, if you take the first point, what your win percentage is here, because so many people say that it doesn't guarantee you success on a map like this.
You would think it would be high, right? But for Clash, I've almost felt like the more we've watched it, that like the team that goes in the lead early usually ends up losing, or like it becomes it's like artificially becomes close. So we'll see. We've just kind of winning that first point. It's benefiting VP at all.
Yeah, I mean, this fight looks like heavily starting to roll in Vision's favor as the reinforcements come in. Shockwave getting brought down there, not a great sign here, but Sauna's been able to get a lot of poke damage in here, so much so that barrage isn't too far away. But there's a cage fight up here for AMDP. Gala with an orbital raid, though, could be huge in response. Yeah, he's going to throw that out now. Rajara is more than happy to play from with the inside of this. RKM is low. Orbital raid crossing the night, but it's going to be Donghun falling first. The barrage unsuccessful from Sauna, but here comes the rally from Kanale. Stunning Top Dragon instantly. Bionate applied. And a Top Dragon couldn't do nothing about it. Excuse me, that was a Rampage to anti-heal the Genji. Either way, the result, the same. Another VP fight win.
Yeah, I think obviously the advantage of winning that first fight is like you don't have to make any compositional changes. You're just going to kind of like steamroll through the rest of the map. Here is where I think we see the most, kind of like where the game starts to turn the opposite way is when teams push into the other team's spawn to try and, take this point, right, and just kind of like end the game. We've seen them talk about and make adjustments to it throughout Clash's history thus far. And
wait a minute,
we may see an end here, as that's going to be too fast pickoffs. AMPD just really low, just trying to use that cardiac overdrive just to live.
An end might be asking for too much, but a tick here could be pretty big. Virtus Pro can walk away from this point getting one tick. That is obviously going to give them 1 point.
Yeah,
they don't have to capture the entire sort of point to walk away with some progress here, but yeah, I think it's going to be too much to ask. The reinforcements come at just the right time here for Vision to force them back.
Yeah, they were just a bit low, right? You know, you had, I believe, a support die. You had to back on up as now you'll be able to kind of capture your home base here. If you are Vision Esports, you'll get a point out of this, and this is where we start to see things flip, right? You get this point, and then, you know, you're able to kind of rush on in. Maybe the other team uses some ultimates, right? Like they just did to try and take that final point. Now you push on in and end up taking it, because I think the value is there, right? If you can get those ticks and get it, but the issue is when you invest and don't get it, you're on a bad side.
Scary Blossom there from RKM. All the Virtus Pro basically had to batten the hatches, shield up, and try and get away from it. That leaves an opening for Vision Esports to come in with this nice little rally from Donghun. And then they come. They're going to be good now to even up the game just like that. We are 2 points apiece.
Yeah, and this is how it happens, right? They end up investing some ultimates, try and push into the spawn. You have no ultimates, then you take A and B, and then we are back at even footing going back towards mid-map. So it's kind of the positive of obviously pushing that last point using some ultimates is you can get like just full like point value out of just ticks. But if you invest and don't get it, it feels like you're highly punished.
Right, here's an orbital rake here now for Vision. They are throwing all of their ultimates into this fight to try and get a lead before the objective even becomes available. Virtus Pro are out of there.
Man, this is gonna be another point taken here for Vision Esports. I guess for the benefit here of VP, right? Is Vision has absolutely nothing to work with here moving on in. VP's been pretty conservative the last 2 points. It is a Vision Esports lead. I don't think it'll be for long though, Mitch. I mean, double support. I mean, you're gonna have like all 5 ultimates here for VP. VP's in a perfect position to actually kind of chain these two together, right? Take D, go back to mid-map, take C, and then you have game.
Yeah, just 2 ticks required for Vision. Rally comes out here from Canal, but Donghun was already down. No need to commit any more to this fight. 2 ultimates here is going to have to be enough for Virtus Pro. We'll see the healing still comes in here for a time from Zox, but they eat a knife from Rajaro. And that'll be that. Virtus Pro get themselves even here in this game. So we are going to be at 3 points apiece, playing for the neutral point. But Virtus Pro have ult advantage to play with.
Yeah, and I think for Vision Esports, the brutal part about that is like you weren't able to extend that point long enough to even get them to really kind of invest heavily off of it, right? So Vision Esports, because the fight goes so fast and because VP doesn't have to invest that much, they're still at a huge advantage as VP, and they're going to move in behind this orbital ring.
The heals were good. I'm going to be honest, on Shockwave. Eventually they get brought down, but all that attention the Vision spent on trying to get rid of just the Sojourn, well, they got torn to pieces by Virtus Pro in the meantime, and they still have a Rampage, which I'll be honest with you, could be a literal map-winning ultimate coming into this next fight. Virtus Pro moves to Clash Point, we're going to call it that. They just need to win one more engagement here.
Yeah, just one more fight here for VP. Like you mentioned, they do have this, I mean, it feels like though if you use Rampage and you use Blade, it's must win, right? You lose that, and then we go back towards that mid-map. I mean, you're so far behind. Sona's going to use the Blade here, just try and give them an advantage early on.
They got Zox. That's pretty good. Rajaro is still holding onto this Rampage, though. It looks like Virtus Pro aren't convinced that this is the fight worth investing in any further than just the Blade that we saw. And then Shockwave going down, so Rajaro's going to let this go. Virtus Pro realized that, okay, we committed a Blade. It took us too long to get the one kill.
This isn't good for...
ball off of it.
This is not good for VP. They're going to end up... Yeah, I mean, they're going to end up being on the losing side of this. They lose Canale early on at the hands of Top Dragon there, so they're not even able to build up towards their own rally, right? They had used Orbital Ray in the previous fight to win C, so now they're pretty far behind. I mean, this is bad for Virtus Pro, and this is the series for them, right? You lose this Clash Point, and you're done. I mean, you're down in the loser bracket.
VP have position on C though, on virtue of giving up B a little bit earlier. But Vision have all of their ultimates. It is such a huge advantage. Still, an early Rampage could be the answer. AMDP needs to stay alive. Inside this, they can't. Zox, though, still has an orbital ray in play. There's also going to be a rally. And, well, Vision hit Q enough times to get the advantage in that fight. This will be a capture on point C. And, folks, as a result, Virtus Pro will be handed their first loss of the FACEIT League Master Season 3. And they will be headed to the lower brackets.
What a win here. Yo, Vision Esports, we are in your comms.
이겼다 이 씨발.
You hear these guys, dude?
씨발
They're going crazy.
드디어 이겼다 씨발. 와 씨발. 너네 존나 못하잖아. 체감 전적 1승.
아 내가 존나 못했다.
Vision Esports, how's it going? It's Mr. X, Uber, Sully, we're in your comms. Crazy series.
자 동아 형이 했어. 왕에게 씨발? 이거 그냥 왕에게 고의를 개쩌는 판으로 들어줘야 돼. 에이. 막 불러.
In fairness, a lot of Korean and Arabic going on at the same time.
I'm not
So-
Danny Lim, so
Yeah.
I can't tell you what happened.
You're also not Jake, so there was really no winning for you.
Yeah,
there.
you
But-
couldn't command their
No.
attention, Matt. That's crazy. You tried to bring me in
No.
there, but I was like, nah, I want to see if Matt.
Mitch was like, I'm not, I don't know any of this, so I'm not
I
gonna
mean,
say
chances
anything. I
of
was like,
them
hey.
having had their like headphones off immediately are also fairly high. Big victory for them, obviously. It didn't look so hot at the very beginning. It looked like VP are in their
Oh.
comfort zone. It was like very smooth sailing for them. And then even the first round on King's Row, right? Like we were questioning that Diva. Should they switch over to a Winston dive? Is that a better idea?
I-
But suddenly they turned it up. Top Dragon Mun. I turned German when I'm talking about that man for absolutely no reason. Let's take a look at the highlights of map 4 as we're, walking back down memory lane to talk about how they got it done.
Yeah, they started off like really, I would say slow, Vision Esports, but I think what surprised me is just how they just kept counter swapping constantly, right? It didn't look like this was a series that was going to go potentially that way. But I mean, I got to give props to Vision Esports, and no, really, I mean, obviously Top Dragon was tremendous throughout the series, but AMDP being able to play all these different tanks, right? In one series, I mean, just tremendous stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's been a complaint of some players. They've said they feel like this game is like you're constantly switching to try and get an advantage, and the truth is, you have that option. Or you can just try and play, what you think is best and just, outskill your opponent, feel like you're better enough than the enemy tank to play whatever you want here. But that's always been the point of Overwatch. You've always been supposed to be able to switch up your heroes to find an advantage. And I think that's what I really enjoyed, I think, seeing from Vision. Also, it was only the tank that they were switching up. Core of their comp stays pretty much the same. Reaper Genji basically all the way through. The Donghun's Brig is disgusting. Guys, so good, man. And Brig, obviously, pretty important. You have to play against like Farah Sojourn, right? So where's your value coming from as Brig? It has to be on, really punishing Rajaro for mispositioning and getting these huge interrupts with your shield bash stuns during rally.
And to absolutely no one's surprise, our player of the match is Top Dragon. I mean, he put on a show on that Genji, unsurprisingly. So we've seen it in the past. This person can take over games.
Yeah, I mean, just tremendous stuff on the Genji. It felt like time and time again, he was able to get first bloods like onto Canale, right? I mean, Canale getting into the back line, and Top Dragon getting in the back line, just able to take out Canale and supports time and time again. I mean, right here towards the end, they end up losing a player first. It doesn't matter. He just uses the blade, goes right through everybody.
Yeah, I mean, this has been really impressive, and it just doesn't matter what pick they've been on, right? I enjoyed the brief echo stint that we saw from Top Dragon, but man, the guy's sick. Really been great to watch him play. So yeah, looking forward to more.
Absolutely. Let's see if we can actually get him on. He should be joining us for a quick chat. And he is indeed Top Dragon. Thank you so much for joining us and congratulations. How are you feeling right now?
Hello, thanks. To be honest, I didn't expect to be won, but we won, so I'm just really happy now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people had VP as the favorite into this because we weren't sure. We haven't seen much of you on that team so far. I know you guys played already in the Saudi E-League, but taking a first place there. How has it been like for you adjusting to a new team after your time at the One Man Army?
Like, to be honest, like One Man Army was like really good players, but they have like big ego. But now here, like a lot of new players, so like everyone just listen my briefing, and then when I said go, and then they just go. Even like Brig or Soji, like other targets. So that's why we won against VP.
We got to see your Echo, your Genji, your Tracer over the course of this series. All of them looked fantastic. How did you guys feel playing against this style from VP? Because it's pretty early on in this meta, and VP were playing like Winston and Queen and a few other weird picks, but you guys seemed like you could handle all of the styles from Virtus Pro over the course of that series really well.
Oh yeah, that was pretty strange comp, like King comp or like some Winston. So Zarya even. So that was our first time against Zarya, but we were just good for adapt for our play style, and then that key was Genji. So just stop the Genji and then keep trying dive stand with soldier or break, like 200 HP targets. Then if we make kill, then win. But otherwise, just lose. But we always made kill, so that's why we won.
Yeah, for you guys, I mean, you had a tremendous series, and then AMDP being able to play all these different tanks, obviously had a great series as well. Just tell me a little bit about like his versatility and what that adds to your guys' squad.
Sorry, like, can you explain more?
Like, well, what is AMDP can play all the different tanks. How valuable is that to the team?
Yeah, it's like good hero pool is really good value for team. So we just talk to Emdeb like, Emdeb, you play this, you have to play this, you have to play this, and Emdeb just keep practice on the comp. So now Emdeb have good value on even other tanks like Mauga and Diva, some things.
So we're seeing a lot of different looks today already from many of the teams. Do you feel like the meta has established itself? Like, do you feel like there is one comp which can beat it all? Or do you feel like as a team, you just have to adapt, you have to be able to switch your heroes?
Yeah, just we have to adapt for enemy play style, so.
Right on. Well, Top Dragon, thank you so much for joining us, and we wish you best of luck in your next match. It's been really, really fun to watch you play, and we hope to see much more of that.
Okay, thank you so much.
That was Top Dragon from Vision Esports. They take the dub against the favorite in this series, VP. That is a surprise, I think, to many people.
Yeah.
But of course, we knew that there is a lot of talent on this team.
But, well, no, I mean, we didn't really. I mean, I guess we saw the results, right? But these are young players. Like, Amgen, for example, has only been on teams since, like, the end of 2023. Like, these guys are legitimately, like, we're used to dealing with people that have been in Overwatch for, like, 3-4+ years, right? Been in Overwatch League teams, come down, play, you know. This is not that. And what Top Dragon is describing is the opportunity to sort of mold a roster of younger players a little bit more in his style. I was waiting for him, by the way, to answer the Amgen question by being like, we expect him to play everything. This is acceptable.
He must.
I do love the fact though that like he kind of mentioned that he just kind of tells them what to do. They listen, and it's like, okay, sometimes with teams it can take obviously, like you mentioned, a one-man army, like you have like a little bit of ego in the way or whatnot. Seems like, at least from the outside, it's like a group of talented players who now have Donghun and Top Dragon who are like, hey, tell us the best path to victory and we will go forward and do it, and we will listen. And you kind of see the results here, beating a team like VP.
Yeah, and they've not been with the team for that long, right? Like, they only really joined like 1 or 2 months ago. So it's really, really cool to already see them like throwing out results like that in the Saudi E-League, now also here in an international competition. So good stuff on the horizon for this squad. Let's see how far they can take it, at least here in the FACEIT League Season 3 playoffs, as they're moving on to our upper bracket final, where they will be facing off against either EXO or Irius, which, by the way, EXO currently is down 0-2. So I don't know what's going on with that Irius team, but they're popping.
Okay, yeah, this is something that I really enjoy, I think, about the FACEIT Leagues, is because we really get a chance to see what these teams have been cooking up. I mean, this team, I'm trying to think, Irius has the DPS player by the name of Escanor, who we've seen before, and also
Gucci's in that team. That's literally the only familiar name on my radar. Like, everyone else, and it's a red team on Liquipedia, so like, you can't, there was nothing. They were formed for this very purpose to play here. Okay, very interesting.
Yeah, also they have Chaba on their team as well, who was on Wasp X Ono, I think, last time around, who was like a decent support player. So I don't know what to expect from them. Peps are in for it. I've got to be honest.
Oh, come on.
It's going to be a difficult game. I'm sorry, bro. Like, they do want to advance, but like Virtus Pro, look fallible. I don't. They're settling, I think, on what the best comps are in this meta still, and I don't think they were nearly adaptable enough. I would have liked to see them try and sort of match and try and put Rajaro in a position to succeed and have like a positive tank matchup when possible. Maybe not all the time, maybe not every spawn, but maybe a little bit more often.
I mean, I think I was kind of, right leading into the series, wrong with the prediction, but right in that, like, I think we probably see that as a grand final yet again, right? I know VP obviously now has to run the loser bracket, right? But you think the way that Vision Esports played the day and the way that, just the versatility in their game, you think they can kind of carry that on through the rest of the winner bracket?
You say that now, though, but like so far, people have been falling at the hands of Aries, so perhaps they, pop off somewhere down there after anything is possible in the world of Overwatch. That's what I know. But we have to wait and see how they're faring in the lower brackets. Virtus Pro and Team Peps, that will happen tomorrow, so we'll have more answers soon-ish, like 19-ish hours from now. For now, though, it's time to say goodbye to Mitch and Matt. Guys, it's been a pleasure, as always. And now gonna yeet you off my broadcast.
We're getting yeeted, yeah.
You're getting yeeted. Kids still say that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Ask the old men on broadcast. Good job.
the oldest broadcasters, yeah. This is what the kids say. And Mitch just figured out who the Rizzler was the other day. I mean, he's so out of touch.
Okay, I need to stop you right there. No. Yeah, dude, and on that note, I say goodbye to the two gentlemen, and we are getting ready for all things NA. You don't want to miss it, so we hope to see you on the other side of this break.